There's nothing more that I can say other than better late than never with this speaker right here. The Marshall Stockwell 2 was something I didn't even pay attention to until someone commented on one of my previous videos for my Bose Portable Home Speaker video, asking for somewhat of a comparison between the two. So I said, why not? Welcome back, everyone, to the Spacey Tropics Review channel. I know I've been away a little bit on a little bit of a hiatus, but I am back and I have the Marshall Stockwell 2 in hand. So without further ado, let's find out my thoughts and if this is the next portable Bluetooth speaker for you. So, as I like to do with my channel, I like to start off with the sound test first. I know everybody likes the sound test and wants to hear kind of what this speaker can sound like, right? So, I personally composed these two tracks myself in GarageBand. Now, I am no audiophile, I am no audio engineer, no audio producer, I'm none of those. I just make these tracks in order to avoid copyright issues. That being said, I try to make them stereo. I try to make them as true and as flat as possible without, doing any crazy alterations, just so you can hear the speaker for being the speaker, right? So without further ado, I'm going to play two tracks and hope you enjoy it. So I have the first track lined up right here. I have the bass knob set at around between 4 to 5-ish, as well as the treble knob set around 6 to 7. I'm going to start the volume off at around 5 and then raise it up to 8 in between the actual track. I'll also see if I can snip in some of the Bose into this as well, just as a comparison's sake. So without further ado, let's get into the actual sound test. As you can see at first, the Marshall's kind of low on the volume when it comes to 5 and below, but let's raise it up to 8 and then you'll really hear what this thing could sound like. Alright, bring that down and let's go ahead and set up the second track. This one's a more recent one that I just finished making about a few days ago, so hope you enjoy. I'm going to raise the volume to 8 one time. So you heard it for yourself. The Charge 4 definitely sounds way louder than the other two. However, for me personally, the Marshall sounds the most balanced, the most well-sounding, if you want to call it, because of those two tweeters. Those two tweeters make a world of a difference when it comes to the overall clarity of the song. But with that being said, let's go ahead and take it back to my face and the main review, and let's get some thoughts, specs, and overall opinions. For a 2019 built speaker, this thing is awesome. It is strongly built. It's nice and heavy. I love the carrying strap on it. I love the color that I got it in, which unfortunately, if you go on Marshall's website right now, I do believe they only have the black and red as well as the black and gold. I don't think they have this burgundy anymore like how I have it, or that white gray one, or the blue one, unfortunately. Maybe it's because a new Marshall Stockwell 3 is coming out and we just don't know that yet. But for now, those are the only two available, at least as far as I know, that I've seen to date. For this being a 2019 speaker, comparing it to the competition back then, which was probably going to be the JBL Charge 4, this sounds so much better to me. Now, the Charge 4 sounds louder, I will give it that, but thanks to the tuning knobs that are located on the Stockwell 2, it just makes the overall sound signature much better, and it just makes it an overall more pleasurable listening experience for me. Specs wise, the Stockwell 2 is a 40 watt stereo Bluetooth speaker. Put that in RMS terms and do half of that, and we're looking at about 10 watts for the woofer, for the bass, and about 5 watts per tweeter. There's 2 tweeters on this thing, compared to its competition back in the day, which was the JBL Charge 4, coming in with 0 tweeters and just one 2x3 transducer. I know the JBL Charge 5 has brought back one single tweeter with that transducer, but I have yet to test that. I have yet to buy that, so I'm going to reserve my judgment on that one. I'm just going to compare my thoughts of the Stockwell 2 compared to the JBL Charge 4, and in some instances, the Bose portable home speaker as well. Now, this is a speaker that has an IPX4 rating. What does that mean? Splash resistant up to a certain point, but you cannot submerge this speaker. Don't submerge it. IPX4 does not mean total submersion. It just means some flicks of water. That's about it. Frequency response is anywhere from 60 hertz to 20,000 hertz and has a maximum SPL or sound pressure level of 80 decibels. Now, I know, reading off the spec sheet is not necessarily what reviewing a speaker is about, but personally for me, sometimes at least, as well as a majority of the public out there, how the speaker sounds in overall loudness, how loud it could get, and then how well it can keep its sound when it reaches that high volume, I think is more important to people than, let's just say, for all the audiophiles out there that want to know the frequency response and the SPL levels and all that stuff. So that's what I'm going to stick to. Apologies in advance for those audiophiles that were looking for this video to be something different. Battery life on this thing is phenomenal, honestly, for what it is. 20 plus hours. Now, I say 20 plus because if you have this speaker from anywhere 50% volume or a little bit lower, and that's what you listen to it on a daily basis, then expect that 20 plus hours. Expect reaching up to 19, maybe more. Now, if you're like me and you want to hear your sound and you want to hear your music and it's going to be loud, maybe 70% volume or so, 80%, then expect the battery life to drop from that 20 plus hour range. But I mean, it's not a substantial drop either. You can get anywhere from 12 to 16 hours still on a single charge with this guy, even if you bump up the volume to anywhere from 60 to 80%. This thing has a quick charge feature. 20 minutes gets you 6 hours playback. That is insane. Holy crap. That is absolutely insane. Something also to note about the USB-C port is that it is a pass-through or reverse, if you want to call it. So it's not just using the USB-C to charge the speaker. If you have a Type-C to Type-C cable, you can charge your Android devices, or if you have a Type-C to Lightning cable, you can charge your iPhone with it as well. Another thing also to be thankful for, from the aux gods themselves, the Stockwell 2 has an aux port. Bonkers, love it. Thank you, Marshall, for putting in an auxiliary port. So let's get down to some simple thoughts here. The person that commented a little while ago asked if there's any, major key differences between the Stockwell 2 and something like the Bose portable home speaker. Now, what I can say is that the Marshall Stockwell 2 is plain simple, straightforward, and to the point. It's not like current everyday speakers where they're getting some sort of a smart feature with them, whether be it Alexa, be it Google Assistant, or in the HomePod's case, Siri, right? There's some sort of smart feature with it. And personally, to me, I'm not a huge fan of smart speakers. But what I can say is they're cool. I like them. But the Stockwell 2 is something that's more up my alley. I can't tell you how much trouble I've had with the Bose app. Just trying to update the Bose app, then for the Bose app to update the firmware on the Bose speaker, and then the Bose speaker gets a new feature, and then you have to do some funky stuff to get that new feature to work, and then after that, the AirPlay doesn't work very well, so you have to wait for another update. The AirPlay gets glitchy, and then the Bluetooth gets glitchy because the AirPlay is glitchy. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess, okay? As wonderful as the sound is that comes from the Bose portable home speaker, it's an absolute hot mess. Versus the Stockwell 2, again, straightforward and to the point. The JBL Charge 4 is also straightforward and to the point. Something I also like to take note of is the stereo aspect of this speaker. In this case, this is what I always thought stereo speakers should be, where there is a tweeter, there is a driver, and this directional audio is coming towards you, while the tweeter and the passive radiator, at least in this case of the Marshall, the tweeter and the passive radiator in the back here is pointed at the wall or maybe some corner of a wall, and it is reverbing that noise all the way around, so you get that overall experience. That is what I personally like in terms of stereo, 360, whatever you want to call it. This fulfilled that dream for me. This is what fulfilled that dream for me, and I couldn't be more happier with it. And to be quite honest with you, in terms of stereo speakers, this thing is way cheaper. I think I saw it on Marshall's website as of today. Marshall's website for about $199 versus the Bose portable home speaker, which is still selling for $350. That's insane, okay? I can just pull my phone out and use Siri as my voice assistant, and I don't need a voice assistant on my speaker, okay? This does it for me. Now, I got two cons for this thing. The first con has to deal with Marshall's quality control of the Stockwell 2 speakers themselves. I noticed in a lot of forums and stuff that this knob here, as soon as you turn it on, the little Bluetooth light will flash, the battery light will flash, and then that's about it. Nothing happens. Well, that happened to me. As soon as I got the speaker, that happened to me. I was so upset, and I thought I had to return this the day I got it in order to get a new one, obviously. But all I did was switch it on and off really fast, as you see by the B-roll right now, and then all of a sudden, all I heard was, and that was it after that. The speaker started working, everything was going flawlessly, it was awesome. So Marshall, if there's anything I'd had to say you need to look at, it's this power knob right here, because this thing gets stuck. I don't know why it gets stuck, but it gets stuck, and you need to pay attention to that, because I've seen a lot of forums where people have to return their device not knowing what the hell went wrong with it because Best Buy or wherever they got it from couldn't even figure it out themselves. My second con, and this might be more of a pet peeve or just something personal to me, I wish I can connect two of these things at the same time, because one of these things sound amazing. Two of these things would just be absolutely bonkers. And guess what? It's going to sound even better if I get to pair it with ba-bang, the Marshall Tufton. Yeah, that's right. I like the Stockwell 2 so much, I got the Tufton. And this is my best buddy over here, okay? I'm just going to be real with you. I've never had a favorite Bluetooth speaker before. This is my favorite Bluetooth speaker, bar none, okay? I'm just saying. I am just saying. This thing is awesome. And if I got to pair this with the Stockwell 2 for some type of stereo something, more stereo on top of stereo, that would have been amazing. Marshall, you're probably working on it now, but I wish it was there back then so I could do these two together. But hey, it is what it is. Technology needs time to increase. And don't worry, reviews coming on that pretty soon as well. So here's my overall thoughts and my finisher nonetheless. 4.8 out of 5. If it wasn't for that little QC problem with the power knob, this thing would have gotten full marks for me. I love the sound signature. I love the fact that I get to tune the sound the way I want it. I love the battery life. The fact that this thing has Bluetooth 5.0. The fact that it has an auxiliary port. The fact that it can charge your phone. And most importantly, the fact that it just works and I don't need a funky app in order for me to use my Bluetooth speaker. That is a godsend in itself. That is a blessing. I love the Marshall Stockwell 2. And if you guys enjoyed this video, I'm sure you're probably going to go get the Marshall Stockwell 2 too. Or 2 as well. 2. You get the point. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I know I have been away on a little bit of a hiatus. Had some medical issues to deal with. It was not COVID. It's just some personal medical issues I've been dealing with for a majority of my life. But that's besides the point. I want to thank you guys so much for sticking around. Thank you guys so much for those that have been subscribing. We're on the road to 1,200. It seems like just yesterday when I was hopeful that I would get 100 subs. And now I'm looking at almost 1,200 of you subscribing to this channel. I couldn't be more happier. I couldn't be more thankful. You guys are what makes the Spacey Tropics channel come alive. Thank you guys so much again. I love all of y'all. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.